Morning, guys. I'm just going to start by going through yesterday's answers. Thank you to those of you who've sent your work in to us. So the first thing we asked you to do yesterday was to predict, based on what we can see here, what type of text you think this is going to be. Now, I would hope from your learning over the last year and a half that you have spotted that this is a news report. How do we know it's a news report? Well, by just looking at the features in front of us here, we can see that there is a headline. We can see that there's a date that the newspaper's written up here. Really important to note that that's the date that the news report's written. The name of the newspaper, the Southern Herald, and then the cost over here, 1 shilling. We can see a picture, and we can also see over here who's written it. So hopefully you spotted that that's a news report. Okay, then we asked you to unlock the meaning of these words here, revelers. So if we look at the word revelers, now before I start reading, I'm skimming and scanning the text and I can see the word revelers is here. And I can infer that it must be a noun, it must be a thing. And I can see the word merry in front of it, which is an adjective. And if somebody's normally merry, it means that they're very happy. Now, a reveller is somebody who is celebrating themselves, really, celebrating what's going on around them, partying. It's obviously a lot more formal than saying merry people partying, but it means, refers to people, the noun, having a good time. Surrender, if somebody surrenders, it's in this context, it's a noun, it's not a verb, although it can be a verb as well. And in this context, it's talking about Germany's official surrender, which of course is when they gave up the war. So Germany surrendered and gave up their part of the war. Crowds flocked. Now we know that crowds are a noun, they're a thing, and a crowd normally means lots and lots of people. And flocked is actually a verb in this context. And if I look at the sentence here, huge crowds flocked to the capital, it means huge crowds sort of came in a very large number to the capital, which of course is referring to London. Trafalgar Square and the Mall, I showed you a picture of yesterday, so hopefully you remember that they're nouns, and of course we know just from looking at the words they're proper nouns because they start with capital letters. Then we asked you to have a go at retrieval. So the question 1, how much did the newspaper cost? It cost 1 shilling, which is up here. And if you remember on our trip to No Thought in year 5, we actually got to see shillings and all the different types of money that were around in World War II when we were in the shop. Question 2, when did the event happen and what dates? And this is a trick question. Now remember, a news report has the date that the news report's written at the top, not necessarily when the event that's being spoken about took place. Now this news report was written on the 9th of May 1945, but actually we know that the event that they're talking about is on the 8th of May. Where did the revellers go in London? Well, if we look at this picture here, and if we read the text over here, we know that they were at Trafalgar Square and the Mall. And I know that because it says it in this last sentence here. So they're the pictures of Trafalgar Square and the Mall. Okay, then we asked you to unlock some more words. Remember, this is really, really important before we actually look at the text, because if we don't know what these words mean, then we're not going to be able to answer the text. Now, the king's coronation. You've probably heard the word coronation in supermarkets. Coronation chicken, Coronation Streets. Of course, this has a completely different context, and a coronation, which is in this picture over here, is actually when a king or a queen, it's like a ceremony for them to become king or queen. Normally takes place here in London, in Westminster Abbey. Big church, big cathedral. If you don't know what bunting is, I did explain it in the previous lesson. Bunting is this sort of decoration that people use for parties, weddings. So you will have seen bunting. Wealthy, wealthier. If somebody's wealthy, it means they've got lots and lots of money. The Union Jack, you should know, is this flag over here. This is called the Union Jack. If somebody's carefree, so the root word there is obviously care, and if somebody's carefree, it means they're literally free of caring. They don't care. The Nelson column is this picture here. It is a monument that is in Trafalgar Square. It looks like this, and it was in the previous picture, which is where you probably recognised it from. You should know what tablecloths are. You should know what the word relief means. If you're relieved about something, it means you're really happy. The National Anthem, I'm not going to attempt to sing on this video, and I'm sure you won't appreciate my singing early in the morning. But you should have seen the National Anthem. You've probably seen it in football matches. It's called God Save Our Queen. So you hopefully, if you're not sure what it is, I'm sure if you type it into Google or YouTube, you'll be able to hear it. Bittersweet, that's quite a difficult word to explain, really. If something's bittersweet, it means that you have positive and negative feelings about it. So, I can't really think of an example to give you, but the closest meaning I would say really is just that if you're happy about something but also feeling sad, you might say, oh, I actually feel really bittersweet about that situation. Okay, hopefully those words make sense and hopefully you unlocked them correctly. Moving on to today's lesson. So we know this is a news report because we went through that at the beginning, and we should know the features of a news report. So let's have a look and read the text, and then we'll look at some questions to answer. Now, all of the words we've just unlocked will of course be in this text. And if you're still not sure on what they mean, or you read it and actually you're not quite sure what you're reading, then, read it over and over again. So remember, you can pause, go back, listen to it as many times as you want in order for you to understand. Okay, victory in Europe. The streets of London were filled with merry revellers yesterday as the country celebrated Germany's official surrender and the end of the war. Huge crowds flocked to the capital, with both Trafalgar Square and the Mall filling entirely with cheering people. It was like nothing I've ever seen before, said Mr. Jones, a bank manager from Penge. I was here for the King's coronation, and even that didn't feel as full as the Mall did today. Some friends of mine who came over from Trafalgar Square told me the Nelson column looked like a narrow, tall island in the middle of a sea of people. What a day to be alive! Everyone looked in the city. Red, white, and blue could be seen. Bunting, flags, tablecloths, even the cloths of some of London's wealthier women match the colours of the Union Jack. The capital has endured such a horrendous 6 years, bearing the brunt of the Nazis' bombing campaign. For Londoners, hearing that the war is finally over has relieved them of year upon year of tension and pressure. London has been worn down, but it has not been crushed. The city and her people had the taste of true freedom yesterday, and the sense of relief could be felt around the city. Oh, thank God it's over, said Mrs. Groves, whilst breathlessly singing a hearty rendition of the National Anthem. To be able to look at the sky and not have to worry that those planes could arrive at any moment is wonderful. I had forgotten what it felt like to be carefree. Oh, it's sweet. Sweet for many, but bittersweet for many more. It is estimated the Nazi planes dropped over 1,800 bombs. Okay, today I would like you to have a go at these 6 questions here. Now, I'm not going to give away the answers, but all I am going to say for number 1 is think about that phrase that you are going to start this answer with. I haven't said it for a while. I hope you can remember it. I can see in the question, what does the word flocked suggest about the crowd? So just remember how to answer that type of question. I'm seeing if you can remember. It's a real test now. Remember, some of them are retrieval, some of them are find and copy. Should know what a simile is. You're looking for the word like or as. And have a go at those questions today. If you're not sure of anything, remember, just get in touch throughout the day. I'm more than happy to help. Have a great day, all of you, and I will be back with the answers tomorrow. Take care.